Hey, it's Chris here, and this is the last of the four videos I wanted to make about ideas to help Democrats who want to pursue practicing Christians who are part of the historic Christian faith, particularly evangelical Christians, and to help maybe pursue them and win some of them over enough to make a difference in the 2026 election. I think it is possible if the Democrats do certain things. I mentioned a lot of things that deal with economics and justice system and the other three videos. You might want to check those out. But in this video, I want to talk about a very delicate subject, a subject that creates a lot of hard feelings on both sides, and that is what we call the culture war. And that's a war over American culture between social conservatives and progressive liberals. And there are many casualties in this war between the left and the right. And I think as we just kind of jump into this video a little bit, I think pursuing a ceasefire is the right strategy for Democrats. What do I mean by a ceasefire? A ceasefire is when both sides agree to stop hostilities, even though they can't come to an agreement. And the divide between socialist conservatives and progressive liberals on many social issues is very, very wide. There's many presuppositions. There are many core values and beliefs in them. Many Christians, a lot of Christians that would be called evangelicals who practice the ancient Christian faith in a modern context, are drawn to social conservatives because of pro-life positions, traditional marriage and family positions, which resonate with Christians who are following the teachings of the Bible. Again, a very ancient faith that has grown and developed through the years to be the largest religion in the world that is practiced by many in the United States. Some are more culturally adaptable, more liberal, mainline Protestants, non-practicing Catholics, and others. But many evangelical Protestants aren't able to culturally accommodate as much. So they're in this world where they have this ancient Christian faith with these values and these principles, and they're trying to practice in a modern culture. And in this modern culture right now, it's having less and less Christian influence. The influence of cultural Christianity as a cultural phenomenon is fading, and that leaves many evangelical Christians or evangelical Protestants in this state of panic. You know, what's going to happen to us? What's going to happen to our belief system? Are we going to get run roughshod over? Are our rights going to be preserved? And so they're engaging in this culture war to try to preserve Christianity in a society that's rejecting it. So that is the context of this war. And many on the progressive liberal side are more humanistic. They practice other religious beliefs, or they are more inclined to culturally accommodate Christianity to the contemporary culture and kind of leave some of the ancient elements behind. And because of that, they are more willing to say, well, we need to progress. We need to move on from these ancient values, these traditional values, and kind of create morality that's more fair and more just for more people. And because of that kind of belief system, there is this inevitable conflict. And because of this conflict, there's a lot of casualties. And we're not going to solve the culture war. There's many different views. There are many different understandings that people bring to the table, which makes it very hard for one side or the other to surrender. So nobody's really going to surrender. So the good thing is a ceasefire, to cease the hostilities and to find a way to coexist together peacefully. And there are many Christians like myself that want to not engage in the culture war. We see, it's discussed as some of the tactics of the social conservatives in this culture war, even though we might agree with some of the positions. We disagree with how they're taking. We don't want to persecute anybody. We don't want to prosecute anybody. We don't want to engage in that kind of battle. What we want to do is preserve and protect everybody's right to their beliefs. And we just want a respect that says, we're going to respect you, and we're not going to coerce you or shame you into not practicing your ancient Christian beliefs in this modern context. And I think the war has gone on long enough. And if Democrats could be the adult in the room and leave MAGA and those social culture warriors aligned with them as the petulant, temper tantrum prone teenagers, I think a lot of people will be drawn to be more accepting of the adults, even if they disagree with those who are being adults in the room. Let me talk about just a few issues and explain what I mean and how or what a ceasefire would look like. Let's talk about pro-life. The pro-life movement is not really about valuing human life, because you can see in the Democrats a value for human life. You see in the Republicans a value for human life. The pro-life movement is very narrowly an anti-abortion movement, and more specifically, it is about certain laws about abortion in the United States. It's not really a pro-life movement. It is an anti-abortion movement wanting laws against abortion in the United States. But one of the things that Democrats do often is they're out saying, let women's right to choose, we're going to defend abortion and all that. And to me, that's just the wrong way to fight the battle. The way to fight the battle is to promote the understanding of life. Do you value life? What if a mother's life is in jeopardy when she's pregnant? Do you want to deny her the availability to this procedure? If you don't like abortion, can you agree to other kinds of means of preventing abortion, preventing pregnancy? What about birth control and other things? Can we come up with ways to provide birth control that prevents pregnancy? What about supporting women when they're pregnant so that they won't feel like their only option is abortion? Since abortion laws have been enacted, maternal mortality is going up and infant mortality is going up. So isn't being pro-life protecting the life of a woman so she can live through a pregnancy? Do we want to protect the lives of these infants born to these women who would ordinarily get abortions and preserve and protect their life too? What things do we have in place to do that? Do we value the lives of migrants and their children? Do we want to harm families? Do we value their lives as well? Do we value the lives of the poor, the mentally ill, people who are addicts? I think Democrats should say, we are the pro-life party. We value life. And because we value life, we want abortion to be part of that mix. Now, somebody like me is not going to be comfortable with abortion, to be honest with you. I don't like abortion. It particularly gets me as a means of birth control. Now, I understand abortion out of medical necessity, a tubal pregnancy or something like that. So I'm not going to be comfortable with that position, but tell me how you're for life. Tell me how all your positions line up for a deep respect and profound valuing of human life, and how that narrow MAGA position is merely about abortion laws, that Republicans no longer have any value to human life. They don't care about human life. They only care about anti-abortion laws. Now, I'm not going to agree with you on abortion, because I don't think, unless it's medical necessity, nobody should be getting abortion. I'll just be straight up with that. But I'd be more at peace with people I disagree with if the discussion is about valuing human life, and I can be part of that discussion, sharing some of my views, and know that I'd be heard even if I'm disagreed with. Here's another example. There is a conflict between traditional Christianity understanding of marriage and family and sexuality and the LGBTQ community. And part of that problem is that Democrats have done a horrible job of trying to bridge the gap, because it's all about culture war. But when I was doing my research, about 1.7% of births are non-binary births, or in the old pejorative term, hermaphrodites, where the baby is born with both male and female reproductive organs, or the reproductive organ tissues or hormones, and because of that creates a lot of internal conflict, and that child and the parents have to decide, what are we going to do about this? The medical community's got to decide what to do about this. And so everybody's talking about sex change operations and hormones and things like that, but we need to be having discussions about what's going on and why people might give puberty blockers, other than just somebody decides their 6-year-old who's a girl wants to be a boy or something like that. I know people who are taking puberty blockers because they have cysts in their brain or other things that is triggering early puberty, which particularly for girls is a problem. And they're not taking puberty blockers because they're transgender. They're taking puberty blockers because they want to have a normal life. And a premature menarche would create all sorts of health problems for them with growth and other things. And as Democrats, you're not having this discussion. You're not talking about these issues. Instead, you're wanting to take the most flamboyant of voices on the extreme and say, okay, we're going to do this, argue this way, like Drag Queen Story Hour and things like that, and celebrate and lift that up. But the problem is all these other difficult issues. People being born with same-sex attraction. I know there are Christian groups that Democrats attack of same-sex attractive people have decided to follow the ancient Christian faith and have decided to practice celibacy because they believe that the practice of homosexual acts is wrong before God. So they live celibate lives, and they are absolutely torn apart and persecuted by many in the conservative evangelical Christian community, despite their adherence to the ancient Christian faith and following biblical and historic Christian beliefs. And the thing is many of them have talked to me and said, you know what, the Democrats are even worse, attacking us and calling us names. And other LGBTQ groups can't even let us exist and acknowledge that maybe that's how we choose to live, to have our faith and choose a life of celibacy, and say that we don't believe that the practice of homosexuality is right before God. If people want to live that way, if that's their conviction, why attack them? If you're Democrats and you're in favor of the minority and protecting minority groups, why not protect a group like that? Why not stand up in their behalf? Why not call off some of the other more radical LGBTQ voices that are attacking them and say, look, this is a minority group within the Christian community. Let's see if we can listen to them and hear what they're trying to do, and not let these MAGA groups attack them and tear them apart because they're a minority voice in this country. There's some of us, and I'm one, who believes that the best building block for society is marriages between a biological male and a biological female, united in marriage, and if possible, to produce offspring, to raise them up, develop them into good citizens, caretaking this planet, being there as grandparents and great-grandparents, and kind of guiding a stable process of development of society for human flourishing. Now, I believe as a Christian, there's sin in the world and people fall short of God's glory and they do wrong things and bad things. And we want to teach children and raise children to do what's right, to have good character, good conduct in that world. So somebody like me, who is a Christian, who has that traditional belief, is getting attacked by MAGA because we're speaking up against the immorality we see in the Republican Party. That's going totally against that belief. And we're told to be shut up and be silent. And yet the Democrats don't see us as a marginalized minority group within MAGA and say, look, these people, they're not out attacking the LGBTQ community. They're not out there engaging in the culture war. They just have these beliefs that they want to exercise in their churches and in their families, and they're not going against anybody. And they should be able to practice that without getting attacked. But Democrats, again, if you're the wrong kind of marginalized group, they'll just go right at you. Certain parts of that community, without respecting the fact that we're trying to practice an ancient faith in a modern context. And because of that, that presents many challenges for us. It presents many challenges as scientific discoveries are made. And we're trying to learn how to live our faith out in a certain environment. And we're tired of the culture war. We don't want to be culture warriors. We don't want to change our beliefs. They're deeply held convictions, but we don't want to be at war with anybody. We want to be friends with people. We want to be engaged with them. And even though we disagree maybe profoundly on many different areas, we don't want to hate and despise any group. And these are the Christians, I think, Democrats, that you want to win over and engage, because we're sick and tired of the MAGA cult. Many people like me are just sick and tired of the MAGA cult and the unchristian and anti-Christian ways they act. And we don't want to be culture warriors. We believe that we're here on a gospel mission to represent Jesus and to represent God, and to teach the scriptures with love and respect and care for everybody, even those who profoundly disagree with us. And so that's not what we want to be. But we're largely homeless now because Trump and MAGA has taken over the Republican Party. But if we hold traditional beliefs, religious beliefs, there's this culture war, and when we try to get too close to the other side of the culture war, we get caught in the crossfire, and we just don't want to get caught in the crossfire. So maybe if you all said, let's have a ceasefire, we're not going to shoot everybody, figuratively speaking. I'm figuratively speaking. We're not going to go after everybody, but we're going to look at ways to make peace, so that we can disagree and still live side by side and flourish as best we can together. So number 4, let's have a ceasefire in the culture war, along with an impartial practice of justice, along with affordable housing in stable communities, along with economic opportunity and opportunity for working families. Anyway, thank you for listening to this video. May God bless you.